Houston, Texas, one of the largest cities in the United States, has long grappled with crime issues, particularly armed robberies targeting convenience stores, liquor stores, and small businesses. In the early months of 2024, the Houston area and neighboring counties such as Harris, Fort Bend, and Montgomery witnessed a series of brazen robberies, with perpetrators using firearms to threaten victims, causing widespread fear in the community. These robberies not only resulted in property losses but also instilled a pervasive sense of insecurity, leaving local residents anxious about their personal safety. The Houston Police Department, HPD, along with the Harris County Sheriff's Office, Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, and the Texas Department of Public Safety, DPS, face significant pressure from the community and authorities to apprehend the culprits. Initial reports suggested that a single suspect, or a small group, might be behind the string of robberies, employing a consistent modus operandi using weapons, acting swiftly, and targeting stores in busy areas with weak security systems. To understand how dramatic this pursuit unfolded, let's follow the Houston Police Department as they tracked down and confronted the perpetrator. In March 2024, a significant incident marked a turning point in the investigation of this robbery spree. A suspect, later identified as Roosevelt Jamie Overton Jr., was fatally shot by law enforcement following a high-stakes chase in Oak Ridge North, Montgomery County. This shooting not only brought an end to a crime spree, but also raised questions about police tactics, the legality of the use of lethal force, and the long-term consequences for the community. Houston and its surrounding counties have long been hotspots for armed robberies. According to Houston Police Department statistics, from 2019 to 2020, the city recorded over 17 901 robberies, many involving deadly weapons. Areas such as North Houston, East Houston, and suburban counties like Harris and Montgomery frequently appeared in crime reports. Convenience stores, liquor stores, and small banks are common targets due to their accessibility and the large amounts of cash they handle. In early 2024, a new wave of robberies emerged. With over 20 incidents recorded in a short period, these robberies shared common characteristics. The suspect used a handgun, threatened employees and customers, stole cash and goods, and fled quickly. Some robberies were captured on security cameras, revealing that the suspect often acted alone. Wearing a hoodie or cap to conceal their identity, the local community began expressing growing unease. Store owners in Oak Ridge North, a part of Montgomery County, reported that they had to enhance security measures, installing additional cameras and even hiring guards. However, these efforts seemed insufficient to deter the suspect, who was believed to be growing increasingly bold. Pressure from the public and authorities forced the Houston Police Department and related agencies to form a task force focused on apprehending the perpetrator. The process of identifying the suspect began when investigators compared security footage from the robberies. Although the suspect often concealed their identity, characteristics such as their gait, the way they held the gun, and their voice in some videos helped police build a suspect profile. Reports from victims and witnesses also provided additional details, describing the suspect as a black male, approximately 40-45 years old, standing about 5'8" to 5'10" tall, with a medium build. After weeks of investigation, police identified a name: Roosevelt Jamie Overton Jr., a 44-year-old Houston resident with a criminal history. According to records from the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, Overton had multiple prior arrests for offenses such as theft, assault, and illegal weapons possession. However, there was no clear evidence that he had been involved in large-scale robberies before the 2024 spree. This raised questions among investigators. What drove Overton to commit such brazen robberies? Information about Overton was solidified when a witness from a robbery in Harris County provided a detailed description matching his profile. Additionally, fingerprints collected at the scene of a robbery in Fort Bend were sent to a lab for analysis, and the results showed a match with Overton's fingerprints in the criminal database. With this evidence, the task force decided to focus on tracking and apprehending Overton. Before the fatal shooting, the task force had been tracking Overton for weeks, officers from the Houston Police Department, Harris County Sheriff's Office, and Texas Department of Public Safety worked closely together, employing methods such as electronic surveillance, vehicle tracking, and analysis of traffic camera data. Overton was believed to move frequently between Harris, Fort Bend, and Montgomery counties, using various vehicles to avoid detection. One of the task force's biggest challenges was Overton's unpredictability. He had no fixed schedule, and the robberies occurred at random times, from early morning to late evening. This made deploying surveillance resources difficult. However, investigators noticed that Overton tended to target liquor stores and convenience stores in suburban areas, where police patrols were less frequent. On March 10, 2024, a robbery was reported at a convenience store in Fort Bend County. Security footage captured a man, believed to be Overton, using a handgun to threaten employees and stealing approximately $1,500 in cash. This robbery strengthened the task force's resolve, and they intensified surveillance in areas where Overton was likely to appear. On the morning of March 11, 2024, the task force received intelligence suggesting that Overton might be planning another robbery, based on his previous behavioral patterns. They predicted he would target a store in Montgomery County, specifically in the Oak Ridge North area, which had numerous small businesses along I-45. A team of officers, including members from the Houston Police Department, Harris County Sheriff's Office, and Texas Department of Public Safety, was deployed to monitor the area. Around 8 p.m., officers spotted a vehicle matching the description of one previously used by Overton. The vehicle was parked near Oak Ridge Liquor Store, located in the 260-800 block of I-45. Undercover officers observed from a distance, waiting for the suspect's next move. About 15 minutes later, a man, later identified as Overton, entered the store. According to a report from the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, Overton entered Oak Ridge Liquor Store around 8:15 p.m. He was wearing a dark hoodie, a baseball cap, and a face mask. Store security footage captured Overton drawing a handgun, pointing it at the cashier, and demanding all the money in the register. The terrified employee complied, handing over an estimated $2,000 in cash. The robbery took less than 2 minutes. Overton quickly exited the store, carrying the bag of money and his gun. Officers outside, who had witnessed the entire robbery via a live feed from the store's security cameras, immediately prepared to act. They ordered Overton to stop and raise his hands, but he ignored the commands and fled toward the back of a nearby shopping center. He immediately sprinted, moving through the shopping center's parking lot and heading toward a densely wooded area behind it. The officers quickly organized a pursuit, splitting into multiple groups to surround the area. They used flashlights, night vision devices, and communicated via radios to coordinate their actions. The area behind the shopping center consisted of thick bushes, fences, and narrow pathways, making the pursuit challenging. The officers repeatedly ordered Overton to stop and drop his weapon, but he did not respond. According to a report from the Houston police, Overton was seen holding an object, later identified as a handgun, in his right hand. He moved quickly, seemingly trying to find an escape route through the dark area. The chase lasted approximately 5-7 minutes, with the officers gradually closing the distance. Some nearby residents heard the shouts of the police. To ensure safety, the officers requested assistance from nearby patrol units, and a helicopter from the Texas Department of Public Safety was deployed to provide aerial surveillance. Though its role in this incident was limited due to the tree-covered terrain, the officers, concerned for their safety and that of the surrounding community, continued to order Overton to stop. Around 8:25 p.m., the situation escalated when Overton stopped and turned toward the officers, according to the official report. He raised his gun. Though it remains unclear whether he intended to fire, the officers comprising 3 members of the Houston Police Department, an undercover Texas Department of Public Safety agent, and a deputy from the Harris County Sheriff's Office opened fire. More than 20 rounds were fired within seconds. Overton was struck multiple times and collapsed on the spot. Officers approached, kicked the gun away from his hand, and called for medical assistance. However, Overton was pronounced dead at the scene. His body was later transported to the Montgomery County Forensic Medical Center for an autopsy. Immediately following the shooting, the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office took the lead in the investigation, with involvement from Montgomery County District Attorney Brett Ligon. An independent team of investigators was formed to assess the legality of the shooting. Key factors under review included reasonableness of the use of force. Did the officers have justifiable reason to believe Overton posed an immediate threat? Law enforcement procedures. Did the officers follow proper protocols in issuing surrender commands and handling the situation? Physical evidence: was Overton's gun used? Were there any indications he intended to attack? Body camera footage from the officers and security footage from the liquor store provided critical evidence. The body camera video, released by the Houston Police Department on April 9, 2024, showed Overton holding a gun and failing to comply with commands to drop it. However, some community activists, such as Randall Callanan and Jeff Reese from the Greater Coalition of Justice, questioned whether the shooting was necessary, particularly since Overton was fleeing and did not directly point his gun at the officers. The autopsy report, released in late March 2024, revealed that Overton sustained at least 12 gunshot wounds to his chest, back, and head. His weapon, a semi-automatic handgun, was confirmed to be loaded but showed no signs of being fired during the incident. Investigators interviewed employees at Oak Ridge Liquor Store, who described Overton as calm but threatening during the robbery. One employee noted that Overton did not exhibit excessive violence, but the gun in his hand left them too intimidated to resist. Overton's family, while not publicly sharing much information, expressed grief and raised questions about the police's handling of the situation. An unnamed relative stated that Overton may have faced financial and psychological struggles in recent years, but they never expected him to be involved in such large-scale robberies. The local community had mixed reactions. Some residents of Oak Ridge North expressed relief at the suspect's death, believing it would restore safety to the area. However, activists like Randall Callanan called for an independent investigation, arguing that Overton's shooting was an example of excessive force by police. Callanan specifically criticized a Houston police officer involved in the incident, who had participated in 4 fatal shootings during his career, including this one. Montgomery County Sheriff Rand Henderson defended the officers' actions, praising their professionalism and dedication. He emphasized that Overton posed a clear threat, and the officers acted to protect the community. District Attorney Brett Ligon also stated that the case would be presented to a grand jury to review the legality of the shooting. The fatal shooting of Roosevelt Jamie Overton Jr. left a profound impact on Houston and its surrounding counties, for store owners and residents in Oak Ridge North. The event marked the end of a period of fear. Many expressed gratitude toward law enforcement, believing their decisive actions prevented further robberies. However, the incident also sparked discussions about police tactics and the use of lethal force. Community activists, particularly in predominantly black neighborhoods, criticized Overton's killing, suggesting he could have been apprehended alive if officers had used non-lethal measures, such as a taser. The incident further strained long-standing tensions between the community and police. Fueled by other fatal shootings of suspects in the region, the shooting is under investigation by the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office, with oversight from the Montgomery County District Attorney. A grand jury, expected to convene in late 2024 or early 2025, will review evidence, including body camera footage, officer testimonies, and autopsy results. If the grand jury determines the officers acted lawfully, they will face no charges. Conversely, evidence of misconduct could lead to criminal charges or internal disciplinary actions against the officers. Additionally, Overton's family may file a civil lawsuit against the Houston Police Department or related agencies, seeking damages. As of now, there is no official information indicating whether the family will pursue legal action from a suspect accused of committing over 20 robberies. Overton became the focal point of a complex incident where officers faced life or death decisions, and the community grappled with difficult unresolved questions. Through this case, we have journeyed from the early days of the robbery spree, the investigation and pursuit, to the far-reaching consequences of the shooting, regardless of the final outcome of the investigation. This case will remain a reminder of the fragility of life, the complexity of justice, and the urgent need for a safer, more equitable society. This case concludes here. Thank you for following the story, and we hope you found it engaging. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated on the latest cases in the days to come.